Imagine closing your eyes tonight and waking up tomorrow with English feeling a little more familiar than it did yesterday. Imagine hearing words that once sounded confusing suddenly becoming easier to recognize. It sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? For many people around the world, learning English already feels like climbing a mountain. Every day they memorize vocabulary, practice grammar, watch videos, listen to podcasts, and repeat the same sentences again and again. Yet, after weeks or even months of hard work, they still hesitate when it is time to speak. Their minds become empty, their confidence disappears, and the words they learned seem to hide somewhere deep inside their memory. Because of this struggle, millions of learners continue searching for an easier path. They hope there is a secret that nobody has told them. They wonder if there is a smarter way to improve without spending endless hours studying. Then one day, they discover a surprising idea. A video appears on YouTube. A blog talks about it. Someone recommends it in a comment section. The title sounds almost magical. Learn English while you sleep. At first, the idea seems too good to be true. How can anyone learn a language with closed eyes? How can a sleeping brain understand new words? How could someone improve pronunciation without speaking? These questions sound reasonable because they challenge everything we normally believe about learning. After all, school teaches us that we must stay awake, pay attention, read carefully, and practice every day. Sleeping seems like the exact opposite of studying. But then another question appears, one that is much harder to ignore. If sleep is only for resting, why do people often wake up remembering things more clearly than they did the night before? Why do difficult problems sometimes feel easier after a good night's sleep? Why do musicians, athletes, scientists, and students all agree that quality sleep helps them perform better? Perhaps sleep is doing much more than simply giving the body a chance to rest. The truth is that your brain never completely switches off. Even while your body lies quietly in bed, billions of tiny cells inside your head continue communicating with one another. They organize memories, remove unnecessary information, strengthen important experiences, and prepare your mind for another day. While the world outside becomes silent, another world becomes active inside your brain. It is a hidden world that very few people ever think about, yet it influences almost everything you remember. Now imagine spending an entire day learning 10 new English words. At first they feel unfamiliar. You repeat them several times. You understand their meanings, but they still feel weak inside your memory. Hours later, you begin forgetting some of them. You become frustrated because it feels like your hard work is disappearing. Then you go to bed. During the night, something remarkable begins to happen. Your brain starts reviewing the experiences of the day. It quietly asks itself which information deserves to stay and which information can safely disappear. It is like a careful librarian organizing thousands of books into the correct places. This process happens every single night, whether you realize it or not. You cannot see it, you cannot hear it, yet it shapes your memory in ways that scientists are still trying to understand completely. That is why many researchers became curious about one fascinating question. If the brain already works with memories during sleep, could listening to English while sleeping make those memories even stronger? Some people immediately believed the answer was yes. They started playing English lessons all night long. Others laughed at the idea and called it impossible. Between these two opinions lies a much more interesting story, one filled with scientific discoveries, surprising experiments, misunderstood ideas, and a few unexpected truths. Perhaps you have already tried listening to English before going to sleep. Maybe you opened a slow English story, relaxing vocabulary lesson, or gentle podcast. Maybe you even fell asleep while the audio continued playing in the background. The next morning, you wondered if anything had changed. Maybe you felt slightly more comfortable hearing English. Maybe nothing seemed different at all. Experiences like these make people ask the same question again and again. Does sleep learning actually work? Or is it simply another internet myth? The answer is not as simple as yes or no. Real life is rarely that simple. The human brain is one of the most complex systems ever discovered. It contains around 86 billion neurons connected through trillions of tiny pathways. Every memory you have ever created, every language you have ever heard, every face you recognize, and every emotion you remember exists because of these incredible connections. Learning English is not about filling an empty container with words. It is about building new pathways that become stronger each time you hear, understand, and use the language. This is why many learners become disappointed too quickly. They expect English to become easy overnight. They expect fluency after watching a few videos or memorizing a short vocabulary list. When that does not happen, they lose motivation. They begin believing that they simply are not talented enough. In reality, language learning has never been about talent alone. It is about consistency. Small improvements repeated every day become enormous changes over time. Just as water slowly shapes solid rock, daily exposure slowly shapes the human brain. Sleep may become one small part of that process, not the entire journey, but an important companion along the way. Instead of replacing your daily practice, it may quietly support it. Instead of teaching everything from the beginning, it may strengthen what your brain has already started learning. This difference is extremely important because many people misunderstand what sleep learning truly means. Imagine planting a small tree in your garden. You cannot simply throw seeds onto dry ground and expect a forest to appear the next morning. First, the seed must be planted. Then it needs water, sunlight, and time. Sleep is not the seed. Sleep is the rain that helps the seed grow. Without planting the seed first, the rain changes nothing. But once the seed already exists, every drop becomes valuable. English learning works in a surprisingly similar way. Your daytime study creates the first memory.